Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me for my presentation on Reality is Not What It Seems, The Journey to Quantum Gravity by Carlo Rovelli. I absolutely love this book because it broke down some pretty hard concepts into some nice digestible chunks. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
So, we have a couple of pretty big honorable mentions in the evolution of our understanding, starting with Democritus, the early Greek philosopher who gave us the fundamental block of atomism. Pretty cool guy. After him we're paired with Anaximander, a Maltese philosopher who also did some pretty big things, i.e. pioneering the scientific method. We're going to come back to this a little bit later, but super fundamental. After him we have Galileo Galilei. You know, this guy likes to look through telescopes at the sun. Then we have Johannes Kepler, likewise part of the Cosmo gang, but this guy really liked orbits around planets. After him we have Sir Isaac Newton, who really refined a lot of these ideas that the previous scientific minds had come up with. Super cool guy, did like lots of calculus, invented gravity, aka discovered it. Yeah, pretty cool guy. After him we have Michael Faraday, but who's Batman without the Robin, if we don't mention James Maxwell as well. Now this pair gave us an extremely important understanding of physics with the electromagnetic spectrum, giving us everything from radio to X-ray and whatnot. You know how useful that is. After them, we have, I hope you know who this guy is, did some cool stuff with special and general relativity, and then also discovered that hey, space and time kind of go to hand in hand together. After him, we have Niels Bohr, one of the early quantum mechanics, best known for his model of the atom. This isn't quite Bohr's model right here, but it does show us how light is emitted or generated. After him, we have Werner Heisenberg, super cool guy. The indeterminacy of where an electron is actually the biggest thing to happen in chemistry. It is super duper cool. And then we have Paul Dirac. This guy was one of the big forerunners after Albert and really carried the torch after him in leading the charge of developing quantum mechanics. Super cool. After him though, we gotta pause with Lisa Randall. She's not a historic physicist in the same sense as the rest, but she is a contemporary physicist who criticized Rovelli, sparking a debate over what Rovelli said in his book, how he presents the quantum mechanics as we know them now as quote-unquote facts. And that was a big no-no. And so we're going to come back a little bit later about how there's a dichotomy in science, and just keep in mind Aristotle and Plato. Without further ado, we also have this amazing flowchart from Newtonic ideas of space, time, and particles existing as three separate things, being refined down into the whole idea of everything is related through events that happen, giving us quantum fields, which eventually gets developed into covariant fields, which are independent quantum fields, kind of. But all that's pretty cool. Ideally, we need to understand this text a little bit better, and curiosity is one of the major themes that we can pull out of this text as we quote-unquote travel with Rovelli to an understanding of quantum gravity through the evolution of our knowledge about how the world works. Now, I know what you must be thinking. Yeah, big whoop. Look at all the cool things that scientists have discovered and pieced together. How could curiosity have anything to do with understanding this text better? You must be crazy, you know? Well, think of it this way. All of these amazing developments wouldn't have ever come about if Democritus didn't scratch his head and ask the question, what is everything made of? Or later when Galileo asked, what makes the planets move? Or Newton asking, what if the same forces that govern the fall of things here on Earth also govern the orbits of the planets? Shoot, let's toss Einstein in there as well, pondering, is it possible to unite gravity with electromagnetism? Each physicist asking more precise and objectively better questions. All this gives more power to the quote from Rovelli, you don't get to new places by following established tracks. Curiosity, in one fact, and one may say, that has become a method of discovery instead of motivation. In this light, we can see how Rovelli shows us through his book how wonder and questioning have become integral parts of the development of science. Funny enough, you already know this method by another name, the scientific method. A prescribed routine of refining a question and testing it has given us nearly all of the amazing inventions and developments of the postmodern era. Originally prototyped in Malthus by Anaximander, this method of refined curiosity slowly advanced humanity through the dark archaic eras of wizardry into the illuminated era of the 21st century. There's this cool book by Arthur L. Herman called The Cave in the Light, and interestingly enough, in this book, Herman tells the story of how science has always been a battle between the curious imagination, as embodied in Plato, struggling against the demands for hard empirical evidence, such as Aristotle. I mean, if you remember back to the intro with Elisa Randall, she errs more on the side of Aristotle, while maybe Rovelli errs more on the side of Plato. So, there's a cool quote from Mr. Herman. Western civilization has been shaped by the tension between Plato and Aristotle, between a world of ideal forms and a world of observable facts. So Rovelli's book guides us carefully along this journey of the dichotomy of science, intricately telling us the story of how far we have come and how far we have to go. In a great quote in summary from Rovelli, we are all in the depths of a cave, chained by our ignorance, by our prejudices, and our weak senses reveal to us only shadows. If we try to see further, we are confused. We're unaccustomed, but we try. This is science. This is curiosity. I'd say this is a curiosity. And to add to that, Herman might as well have been directly adding this line, stating that Plato's cave is not just about ignorance, it's about the courage to turn around and look at the light. We could argue that it may as well have said that courage is the courage to follow our inquisitive nature and seek answers for a curious mind. So, to tickle your brains, here are some solid questions to mull over and discuss. One of the big ones being, what role does curiosity play in defining us as a species? Think back to Herman's quote about having the courage to look back at the light, and I'd love to catch up with all you later. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.